Hey Internet's RJ, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. So on the docket for today, we have Chase in their Q1 2025 5X categories. A little bit late, but it was worth it because Chase has a surprise for us. We have American Airlines with their yearly update to status qualifications, which actually don't get that much worse, believe it or not. We have Hyatt at bringing a new property line into the fold, and of course we will close with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, putting banks and issuers on notice about devaluing your points. Seems they will not go quietly into the night. Take that, Department of Doge. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, of course, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, we'll lead off with Chase in the Freedom categories. Now, yes, they did come out last Sunday, but of course, we missed it because, we have deadlines to hit here, right? Publishing deadlines. So let's take a look at it as well as the surprise we're getting from Chase. So when you take a look at it here, you're getting Norwegian cruises, grocery stores, excluding Walmart and Target, fitness clubs and gym memberships, and hair, nail, and spa services. So if you want to look pretty, there you go. Now, that's pretty standard fare. However, because this is the 15th anniversary of the Freedom cards, what Chase is doing is they're giving you a bonus category in the last month. But you got to be careful here, because these bonus categories, they start the 31st through the March 1st, to the 31st, and as from what I can tell, the $1,500 cap still applies. And so this time you're going to get insurance payments and tax preparation services. Don't confuse those two. I kind of did in the beginning, but insurance payments, not tax payments. So there you go. And because it's the anniversary year, 15th anniversary of Freedom, this is going to happen for the remaining 3 quarters. The bottom month of the quarter, we should get a bonus category as well, which, funny enough, I tape these videos almost over a month in advance, but last Thursday, we had a video. The main topic was, how the city custom cash is killing the category, or killed the category cards. And one of the recs we gave in that video was like, hey, if you're going to do these categories, you should at least focus on stuff that we don't have and can't get anywhere else. And wouldn't you know it, this bonus category is what they did. I don't know anyone paying that much for 5X back for insurance. Insurance is really a harder one to get. Normally your best one is you can line it up through the PayPal credit or PayPal category or something, and then tax preparation. I don't know if we've ever seen that. Now again, on their own, they're probably not that much money that you're gonna make on it, but still it's nice, and it's something that makes the Freedom cards worth having around, because you can't really find that anywhere else at that high of a multiplier. So we'll see what their other ones are come the rest of the year, but it does kind of make the Freedoms fun again, at least potentially a little bit more competitive. Now, one other point I did want to address here is it seems to be that Chase is selling a category slot. Last quarter in Q4 was Mickey D's at 5X, and then now we've got Norwegian cruises. Those are both oddly specific. I don't really mind them selling a slot because they're still giving us 4, so 1 is sold. I think that's fine. I'm presuming they're selling it, or some kind of partnership there, right? But if 1 is sold, they're still giving us 3, and one of them happens to be, grocery stores. I don't really care. Truthfully, I'd rather Chase be able to make a little bit of money from outside, from vendors or partners, versus having to turn on the customer and hey, well, I'm going to offer you 1 less, or make it even harder to earn points or anything like that. So because of that reason, if they are in fact selling a category slot, I don't mind. I think there's still more than enough variety, and I also like this idea of a bonus category in the end of the quarter. I also like that they told us in advance, so now you can choose how you want to spend your $1,500. Again, I've got 5 of the cards, so it probably will be fine either way for me. But again, I think that's a nice touch. I don't think you have to opt into that bonus one either. Then just opting in just covers it all. So they are longer than I thought to spend on the Freedom categories, but good nonetheless. Now, we move on to someone who's kind of related to Chase, and that is Hyatt. A while back, Hyatt got roughed up in Vegas. They had a bad night at the tables when the MGM partnership moved to Marriott, which I like Marriott, but people like Hyatt a lot more. Marriott's somewhat underrated because, it bridges Chase and Amex together as a common transfer partner, but anyhow, this is about Hyatt. Hyatt has signed a new property under its banner to work in Vegas, and that is going to be the Venetian. So we have a press release to take a look at. You can see nice backdrop there. But this was announced back on the 18th of December. So Hyatt Hotels Corp. And the Venetian Resorts Las Vegas today announced a long-term licensing agreement to make the iconic luxury property of the Las Vegas Strip bookable through Hyatt channels, including Hyatt.com and the World of Hyatt mobile app. They'll seem like one and the same, but whatever. In the near future, so not right now, but in the near future, World of Hyatt members and eligible meeting and event planners will be able to earn and redeem loyalty points on qualifying stays, earn credit toward the Brand Explorer Award, and for Hyatt Elite members, enjoy additional on-property benefits. With this long-term licensing agreement, they go on to say more and more nice things about one another. But there you have it. Overall, not too bad. We'll have to wait and see what the redemptions come out to be, right? Is it a good redemption? Is it bad? We just simply don't know. I think weekends are probably going to be pretty hard because that's when everyone goes. But like during the week type stuff, you might be able to find some sweet spots there. And overall, I think it's just nice to see Hyatt still in the game. They losing the MGM kind of hurt. I think it hurt their brand a little bit, at least in that specific area. But they're adding stuff. I've never been to the Venetian, so of course you can let me know down below if it's actually a good thing or not. But overall, when the stuff doesn't cost you anything, I generally think it's decent enough. So there is Hyatt. Now in our normal transition we do, if you're going to stay at a Hyatt in Vegas, perhaps you got there flying American. If you're flying American, you may even have status or want to earn status. And in that case, you'd be happy to know that the status changes for this year, the coming year rather, are actually not that bad. There's not really a ton of devaluation or anything there. So let's take a look at this for you American folks out there. So this is coming to us from Upgraded Points. You can see I'll put it on screen. We're just going to pull some of the stuff, but they lead off to say the good news from American Airlines. They won't make any changes to elite status qualification levels for 2025. So again, as a refresher, gold at 40, platinum at 75K, platinum pro at 125K, and executive platinum at 200K. So there you go. So, and again, so we know 2025 elite qualifying year begins March 1st and goes through February 28th of 2026. There will be new loyalty point reward options as well. We'll take a look at those. So at 15,000 loyalty points, members can choose a personalized luggage tag, the good old brag tag, if you will. This is in addition to the other choices that level, which include preferred seat coupons and priority boarding. Sure, you can get a tag, whatever. Announced in October, American and Hyatt are enhancing their relationship and will add additional loyalty point rewards, including Hyatt Elite status and free night certificates. So Hyatt's on a roll this episode. Beginning at 175K loyalty points, customers can choose to support the use of sustainable aviation fuel. If you want to pretend to be a good person, sure, but I'm not going to count that one. No one cares. New ways to use American miles in 2025. You can use your miles to purchase food and beverages on flights. That sounds like a terrible redemption. I probably wouldn't do that one, but you can save 25% on, if you're using one of the credit cards, but still I probably wouldn't bother with that. System-wide upgrade enhancements. So system-wide upgrades will be redeemable online, and you'll have longer to use them, beginning, of course, in March. As we said, you'll have through the following status year to use your upgrades. So that's nice. And then there are additional million miler levels. They're adding 2 new lifetime statuses. So fly 4 million miles for Lifetime Platinum Pro, 5 million miles for Executive Platinum status. And there you go. Those are our changes for American. Again, I don't really fly American too much, but could be a good year for American. They've got some changes. They didn't nerf anything. I'm not giving you a ton of credit for a baggage tag and being more green focused. You guys saw your fuel thing. I'm not giving my points to that, but whatever. The main thing is it doesn't cost you any more points or miles to get the status, and of course they're going to onboard Citi or bring on Citi as their exclusive partner. So it could be a good run for American. Of course, we'll see in a year or two how they feel after all those thank you points come flooding in for redemptions. That's when I think the changes will happen and we'll see an increase in status. But for now, let's just get everyone excited and sell some more credit cards. That's my not quite conspiracy theory, but conspiracy theory thought here. But let's just take what we get, shall we? Now, back to my world, cashback, or at least banking. We're checking in on the Discover Capital One merger. So it's not done yet, but they did clear a major milestone. This comes to us from Business Wire. So, typical press release here. A lot of times folks just give them to Business Wire. They help them get the word out. So Capital One announced today that it received approval from the Office of the Delaware State Bank Commissioner on December 18th to complete its previously announced acquisition of Discover Financial Services and its subsidiary bank, Discover Bank, which is a Delaware charter bank. Both companies have a long-standing commitments to Delaware and the region, and this approval represents an important step toward completion of the merger. Capital One thinks this merger will close transaction will close in early 2025, subject to the satisfaction of the remaining closing conditions set forth in the merger agreement between the companies, including approval by the stockholders of Discover and Capital One and approval by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, just OCC for short, guys. So there we go. So we're not done yet, but passing your local regulator is probably a large hurdle there. So I think this one will probably happen. Again, I'm trying to get my last Discover card before it's done, and they've moved everything over because we just don't know whose underwriting requirements and whatnot are going to win out, And Discover does have good customer service. So again, they're supposed to leave it separate. I hope they do because Discover is pretty good and Capital One is not so good, at least in customer service and keeping the rules straight and everything. Again, my opinion is that you call in Capital One, it's that age-old how many cards can I have thing. People hear different things, for example. So I like that they're going to keep them separate. Looks like it's on track, so we'll keep an eye on it, and probably Q1 of 2025, it sounds like they will know for sure. But one person who always has your back, no matter what, when it comes to customer service, is the CFPB. So much so now that they are weighing in on the devaluation of rewards points, credit cards points, cashback, things like that. So they're not specifically going after it, folks, but they did issue what they call a circular, which is kind of like a memo, if you will, saying like, hey, look, you guys can't keep doing this. And I think they're trying to say we're going to start enforcing stuff. So let's take a look at this. They go through a lot here, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you got it on screen for you. We can kind of skip down. So the question presented basically was credit card issuers violate the law if they or their rewards partners devalue earned rewards or otherwise inhibit consumers from obtaining or redeeming promised rewards. That's the question presented to them. And this, as you can see, partners is a big one here. It's a small word, but it's a big one here because partners, to me, I think we see this the most in travel and airline space, really. So they do a whole background section. Again, we're going to skim through that because the points you want to know are devaluation of rewards already earned or purchased. Rewards program operators may commit an unfair or deceptive act or practice when they materially reduce the overall value of rewards that consumers have already earned or purchased. Consumers make decisions on whether to open or use a credit card based on the explicit and implicit representations about the value of the card benefits and rewards. Again, it goes on for examples. It's well written. You guys just know a lot of this, so I'm not going to do all of it. Hidden conditions here. Rewards program operators also risk committing unfair or deceptive acts or practices when they revoke or cancel rewards or prevent the award of rewards based on buried or vague conditions. Reward programs have become increasingly complex. That is true, with lengthy terms and unintuitive restrictions. And they go on to say the following are illustrative examples of potentially unfair rewards programs: revoking or canceling rewards based on vague catch-all language in programs terms such as gaming or abuse. There we go. This can especially be problematic, as you can see, revoking previously earned rewards based on policies that tie revocation to action that are not within the consumer's control. That's a good one. And promotional sign-up offers that are denied based on hidden conditions that consumers were not reasonably aware of, such as churning conditions that restrict how frequently a consumer can earn sign-up rewards, time and time period again. Inability to redeem rewards, that's a good one as well. So look, I know I'm skimming through this here, so if not, we'd be here for like 20 minutes. But overall, you can see like that hits a few things, right? And it's funny because this isn't a credit card related thing, but I just had a CFPB complaint with Bluevine. I'll make a whole video about it. I lost, but what they did was essentially they changed the terms middle offer, and then they fell back on that abusive practice, even though abuse, right? So if you're following the criteria of the program says, hey, if you spend $2,000 on this debit card for 3 straight months, we'll give you rewards, and you're spending $2,000 on the debit card through PayPal, bill pay, or whatever it means, is that really abuse? But they use abuse as this broad, nebulous term to fall back on, and you can't really fight or argue against that. Churning, they specifically list churning in there as well, because we know that does come up sometimes. When I write the bonuses up, a lot of times it's not always super clear when the last time you could have an account was, or are they counting from the time you opened the account, the time you got paid, or the time you closed the account? Devaluations also huge. I think you see devaluations a lot more on the travel side than anything else, because they call out partners, no one by name. But again, as we go back to our Hyatt thing, right, or our American thing, as I just said, I expect that they did not change the status requirements, partly because, hey, we want people to be excited about this, and then a year or two, once they see the damage from city and thank you points, they're just going to go in and pull some levers and make their miles worth less. That's my opinion. So overall, I think this is a good flyer, good read here. I will put the whole thing on profitablecontent.com for you, just a link to it so you can find it if you want to read through it. I mean, we could sit here and go through examples of folks changing stuff. US Bank recently, people are mad because they changed the Altitude Connect, making points harder to redeem. Like, could that look at those minimums? How US Bank, for example, it has to be like increments of 25 or something like that. I don't think that they're going to. I don't read this as like, hey, we're about to go hammer some people. This is more so like a thought piece, and kind of like you've been put on notice now, which is a good thing for us, because if nothing else, it gives you more room when you go, if you have to file a complaint or something like that. And, we'll have to keep an eye on it and see if it actually turns into anything. But, I think this is good. I think this is, I'm somewhat biased because this falls right into our little niche of the internet, right? But Doge, Elon, and Vivek are like, hey, we don't like the CFPB. And I hear you. It could be run a lot better. That much is true. I've submitted enough complaints to know it could be run a lot better. But at the same time, like, you really don't have much of a chance against a bank whose policies are written down that they're not going to talk to a customer unless they have to, and they're not going to tell you anything. And this stuff does happen all the time. And it's one thing when it happens to us, because I can easily say, hey, charge it to the game. I still make $10,000 from banks. But if you're very new to the game, or you're just the average person who gets sold an American Airlines or Delta card or a Hilton card on property or on the plane, like they used to go up and down and sell cards. I don't think they still do, at least I haven't seen it in a while. They do sell them in the terminal, though. And you get it, you're not going to know half the stuff that we know. And yeah, those are probably the people more so than anything else. But again, they do specify churning, which, that's what we are, right? So as I'm incredibly biased over this. But let me know your thoughts down below. Again, I'll link the whole thing for you on Profitable Content if you want to take a look at it. I do think it's worth a read. I don't want to take up 30 minutes of your time here with this, but it is good. So overall, we are pro CFPB, at least in a consumer fashion. Now, ask me in my main line of work when I work at a bank. Different story. Love-hate relationship, I guess. But anyhow, that has been the news for this week. So, of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, as we're posting content just like this every single week. And, of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And, of course, every single day over on profitablecontent.com. As we just mentioned, it's our blog. It's always linked down below for you and on the channel homepage. We have plenty of news stories just like this. We have all the bank promotions, and we have credit card offers. So just keep churning, as they say. But anyways, guys, that'll do for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.